Welcome to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick, a weekly horror movie review podcast. I'm Tawny Ray.
And I'm Felicia Connor. Subscribe to get new episodes every Wednesday. We dive into trivia, drink a little whiskey, and of course, give our no BS opinions.
Join our Discord server or message us on social media to talk all things scary.
And if you like the show, consider supporting us on Patreon.
You can find all these links on our website, twochicksandahorrorflick.com. Thanks for listening.
Now let's get scared. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first episode of 2024. Super excited to be talking about this movie. So what we're doing, because as you know, it's also our birthday month. And so we're just choosing what movies we want to see. Tawny let my choice be first. And so we are talking about Leave the World Behind. Very excited about it. But you know what? Let's get into what we're drinking. I'm going to start this time because I'm drinking water. Wah, wah. No, I'm kidding. Water is very healing. You know how passionate I am about water. But I'm drinking water with a little bit of lemon. Not fancy lemon this time, though. Lemon from the little plastic lemon bottle. But lemon's lemon, right?
That'll do. Yeah.
That'll do. But Tawny has something more exciting to talk about with what she's drinking. So
I
take it away.
Well, okay, I should say that I already drank it right before this episode. So I am drinking Magic Mind, which is a productivity shot. So this week, I'm sure you felt this too, Felicia. This week has been really rough returning to work after such a long, a week and a day, 11 days on a holiday break was a lot. And so coming back, I was definitely struggling this week with like focusing and having the energy to like just get through the day, honestly. So I've been taking these during this last week, just trying to up my productivity and my focus and my energy. And so it really, really, really helped. I feel like groggy at like 80% of my life. So this was incredible. The other thing that I liked about it was that it was really easy to drink either in the morning or just like at, in the middle of the day when you hit that like afternoon slump, which I'm sure we can all identify with. But I really loved that the caffeine in it is from matcha. So it's actually like it's basically an extended release type of caffeine, and I didn't get anxious, which really like is important to me because, I have anxiety and too much caffeine can make me feel anxious, but it prevents a spike in cortisol with the help of L-theanine, which also helps reduce stress and anxiety, which is really nice. So if you struggle with energy and focus like me this last week throughout your workday, then you should check out Magic Mind. You can get up to 56% off your first subscription until the end of January and 20% off of a one-time purchase with 2chicks20. That's a code. You can go to magicmind.com/Jan, Jan, 2chicks, and redeem the discount code 2chicks20. So that's TWOCHICKS 20. But definitely hurry because the 56% discount only lasts through the end of this month. So that is what I was drinking.
Nice. I am also loving it, and I'm excited to talk about my experience on our next episode.
Yeah, awesome.
Awesome. All right. We'll put all of that, of course, in the show notes and link in our bio as well. All right. So now, what have you been up to besides being very productive? What's going on?
I have so much to tell you, actually. I'll try to go through it quickly. I'm like, this is going to be hard, I think, with us recording every other week because there's going to be like too much to talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we might need to change that in the future.
I know. So I have an update because last episode was our year in review and we talked about like what we were doing for 2024. And I hadn't quite like nailed down, what I wanted to do. But then Jade and I sat down and like talked about it and did like a little bit of just thinking on it. And so we came up with some words because I think I've mentioned this before. We do this normally. And this year we have 4 words. So we're coming out with focus, relevant, product or active or activity. I actually can't figure out what way I want to say the word. So focus, active, and then rhythm, which was my pick because I really want to do more dance this year. Like it just makes it's easier to work out. It makes me so happy and I just like it a lot. So, but the other way that rhythm made sense to me was like getting in nice rhythms of life, so where you like build habits into your day or in your week. And I feel like we already have this a little bit where we, every Sunday morning we do like our budget stuff and I do the laundry and we just have like a set of chores that we do on Sunday morning. And I consider that a rhythm. And so, it's that. Like I want to incorporate more of that into just day-to-day life. And then the last one is like connection, which is an important value to me, and connecting with people and just trying to figure out a way to do that more this year, like more thoughtfully, I guess. So there's that update.
Love it. Love it. I also chose a word. So we had talked about it and I hadn't chosen anything. And I love, my favorite planners are Savor Beauty planners. I love them. They're 90-day planners. So I get 4 for the year and it makes it like it chunks it in a way that makes it seem like I'm achieving goals versus 1-year planner. And then, I kind of forget. And the through Savor Beauty, they had this like planning out your year, like an inspirational thing. And one piece was choosing your word. So I went through that activity of choosing my word. And it sounds like it's very similar to you and to what you guys are doing. My word for at least the first 90 days of 2024 is intentional. I want to be making these intentional choices so that I am building good habits, releasing bad habits, and just being, because even I thought at first it might be flow. Oh, okay. But really, I think flow comes after me building those important pieces, writing habits, healthy choices, being very intentional with what I read and what I do, how I eat, things like that. So intentional is my word.
Yeah, that's cool. Also, because I feel like it goes along with what you really liked about last year, too, when you were talking about just feeling like you were calm in the midst of lots of change and things going on around you because you were intentional about like not overcommitting. And so that's cool that you'll like bring that into the first part of this year.
Yes. Thank you, Tawny, for remembering that. You're right. I want to keep that intentional flow going. And then in 90 days, we'll see. Do I need to keep that going? Like everyone should always be intentional, but maybe I'll have a new word. But we'll see.
Yeah. I like the idea of updating it as you go too, because sometimes throughout the year things do change, and you're like, is that still what I want to hold myself to? So that's kind of nice.
Yeah. And it might be. It might be. Yeah. You're like, no, I still need to work on this. And so, but having that option to change, pivot.
Yeah. Pivot is good. So in service of at least the word active, well, and rhythm, I guess, this last week, we've been getting back in the gym, which we were doing. We did a good job up until November. And then we had just like lots of travel and holiday stuff. And so that was really tough to keep going through November and December. But I went to 3 fucking workout classes this week. I did.
That's awesome.
I know. It was incredible. I did bar on Tuesday, which I also is kind of dancey. It used to be the most dance type class at this gym that we're going to. Bar on Tuesday, I went to Zumba on Wednesday, which was an hour of nonstop dancing. And I thought I was going to die. But it was okay. I was all right. And then on Saturday morning, we went to a circuit training class. And I feel fucking great, dude. I feel strong. I'm like a little sore today, obviously, but I'm not like dying sore. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Let's keep it up. Keep going to the gym.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's...
I exercised for a total of 0 times this week, but I did think about it often.
You know what? I think that counts, right? What is that? Like the stages of change. It's like one of the first stages is like just preparing to do the thing that you want to do.
Look at Tawny just making me feel validated left and right today. I love it.
That's what I'm here for. Okay, aside from that, let's just talk about what I watched. I'm so sorry. Do you want to like switch here before I talk your fucking ear off?
No, talk. I've been interjecting too, so I think it's good.
Okay. I watched 2 amazing fucking movies since we talked last. Like amazing movies. And they are Saltburn and Poor Things. Have you seen Saltburn yet?
No, my daughter's watched it. And I was curious about it because my middle daughter was like really upset by it and disturbed. Like she's like, I don't like the way this made me feel. And then her girlfriend was saying it's worth a watch, but it was, I don't know, they couldn't really speak to it. It seemed like it really kind of boggled their mind and disturbed them. That's
Yeah.
my take.
Yeah, I've been seeing, that's what I was seeing. There's a lot of people being like totally disturbed by it. So I was like, I have to check this out. Like, I just have to know what the like buzz is all about. And I think for people who don't watch movies like we do, it was shocking and disturbing. And so, but I came across a TikTok video where somebody was like, if you liked Saltburn, you'll also like these other movies. And they talked about like Mandy, which I haven't seen, but they said Mandy and Titan. And I was like, dude, if I watch Titan, I can fucking handle this. Are you kidding? Like, I'm good to go. So that was my final push to like, I'm going to watch this. And I went in knowing nothing. And I think that's the best way to go. Like, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to say anything about the movie other than I really loved it. And that I think at least fans of this podcast should watch it probably. And I just love it. Was such a great experience. I made Jade watch it as soon as he came back from his trip. I was like, I loved this. And now I'm going to make you sit down and watch it. It's like 2 fucking hours, but it goes by pretty fast. I made Paige watch it. Great fucking movie. There's some like what the fuck going in a little bit for sure. But I don't know. I fucking loved it. And so you'll have to watch it and let me know how you feel. But I think,
is it kind of like what the fuck level, like Infinity Pool? And no, you're saying Titan. So is it on the level of that? Like if I could make it through Titan, I could probably make it through this.
For sure.
Okay.
But it's not, I wouldn't say that it's the same type of weird, because that actually like threw me off, because then I was like, oh, is this going to be like Titan in any kind of way? And it wasn't.
Okay.
It's like, it's based in reality. It's not like so crazy fantasy kind of stuff, but I think you'd like it. I think you'd really like it.
Okay, I'll watch it.
And we can't stop talking about it, dude. Anyway, I just loved it. It was probably one of my favorite 2023 movies. And then I went to see Poor Things in the theater. So this is I'm gonna fuck up his name. I'm so sorry. Yorgos Lanthimos, something like that. He also did The Lobster, Killing of a Sacred Deer, which I think you watched and did not like. The Favorite, and one other movie that I can't remember right now. I've only seen The Lobster and I did not like it, but I watched it before I think I could appreciate dark comedy in the way that I can now. So I might like it if I went to revisit it. But this movie was so fun and fucking crazy. This is probably my most favorite weird as fuck movie I've ever seen. Most of the time I'm kind of not down with like over the top weirdness, and it is over the top weird. So anyway, weird fucking movie. Loved it though. You should definitely see it when it comes out to whatever it's going to be on. And then I'll just say a few more things and I'll shut the hell up and let you give me an update. I watched a handful of movies, but the only other one I'll note is that I did watch finally the Cube remake. It's a Japanese
I'm sorry.
remake.
I'm excited for you because I know that you wanted to see this.
I did, yeah. And I loved The Cube. That was a movie that I made you watch, I think, either last year or the year before. I think it might have been during our January birthday picks. And it was okay. It really took a different direction than like in what the movie was trying to say. And I didn't quite get that. But it was nice to see an updated version of that, I guess, The beginning was almost like shot for shot remake. So that was kind of fun. And then the last thing, I'm fucking already on my reading. We talked about this, like reading more.
Good.
And I want to read better books. So I finished the book I was reading. I don't know if I liked it, but people keep telling me this series gets better, Throne of Glass. So I'm like, part of me is like, maybe I should keep I don't know, but it's annoying the shit out of me, to be honest. But I finished that. And then I started a new book called A Dowry of Blood, which I think is still like romance, but it's like a retelling of Dracula's Brides. And it's like really beautifully written. So I'm really enjoying that so far. I'm like 30% of the way through, but that might be one for you to check out. You might like
it. That sounds really interesting. You said Dracula's Brides.
Yeah.
He had majority. He had the majority of brides. He had more than one bride. I didn't even know this.
I don't know. I mean, it would make sense.
In the book, it's his brides.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, what are you talking about?
I thought you knew something about, you're like, it was about one of his brides. Like, I don't even know what I thought.
Yeah, I don't know anything about like if there are already standing characters that are Dracula's brides or what.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I think I just misheard you, and I thought you were saying like it's about one of his brides, and I'm like, oh shit, he had more than one.
Oh, yeah, you're all. Who's that? Who is it? I don't know. That's what it said about the description of the book. So, nice. Anyway, sorry, that was a big update for me. Tell me what's been going on in your life. What are you watching, doing?
No, that's so much fun, especially because I think in the end of last year, I had periods of time where you were working so much, so you didn't have as much, and I had big old long lists. I don't have as much this time, but I'm looking at my notes, and did I ever mention the 2023 movies I just like tried to crank through and binge at the end of the year? I don't remember if I mentioned them or not.
I don't remember either, because it's hard. Sometimes I don't remember what you tell me when we're recording versus what you send me as a message.
What we just chat about, right?
Yeah. I remember, you might have said something about something's wrong with the children, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Okay, so maybe I did. Maybe I did already. Did I talk about Totally Killer? Cobweb?
I think you mentioned that you watched them.
Okay, cool. And The Conference and No One Will Save You. I don't remember ever talking about any of these, but so I'll just say, hey guys, that I watched these things. I watched The Conference, When Evil Lurks, No One Will Save You, Cobweb, Totally Killer. And I can say I really enjoyed Totally Killer. But you know what? I don't think I really talked much about it because we might talk about these things. So that's probably why. So I'll just leave it at that. But I'm still reading. I'm very happy. I'm on the same reading path. I'm reading every single day. So I'm either reading in the evening, School for Good Mothers. I'm almost done. I'm like 70 something %. So I'm almost there. And then trying to finish up Wayward, which is at the same spot, like 72% done. So trying to finish those books, and then I'll share whatever I start next. Love reading, and I'm trying to do that more too. And I watched Take Care of Maya. Okay, this is a documentary I think everyone should watch, especially parents. It was sad, and it is also infuriating and enlightening. And in a nutshell, it's about this little girl who had this chronic pain syndrome, CPRS. Those who have it are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. And I apologize that I didn't have it ready. But if you look it up, it's Take Care of Maya. And these parents brought her to all these different doctors, and no one could help. No one knew what was wrong with her. They thought she was making it up. Finally found a doctor who diagnosed her with this specific chronic pain syndrome. And the treatment was with this particular drug. And of course, because I'm speaking about it, everything just flew right out of my head. So definitely look it up. But she was doing so much better, and then she relapsed. So they brought her into the emergency room. And one nurse, who's a child abuse nurse, went in, thought they were making this all up, took the girl away from the family, saying that she was being abused, and took away from the family. So I won't tell you what else happens. Definitely watch it. And this family's journey, come to find out a lot of parents have experienced this. They bring their kid in, not knowing what's wrong, but their kid's in pain, and they leave in handcuffs. They have prison time. They have because I guess not enough doctors know about this. It was an incredible story. I definitely feel like her story should be shared and should be heard, this family's story. And also parents should be aware as well. Really, really scary. The only other thing I have to say is, because when years ago, maybe a year or two, when you were talking about how you are going into this TikTok trap.
Yeah.
Remember, you were just, okay.
Yeah.
I did not know about YouTube Shorts.
Oh, no. It got your ass.
It got my
no.
ass. I was lying in bed and I was going to finish a true crime episode that I was watching. And I saw Annie Elise. You know, I love that true crime podcast, 10 to Life. And she had a short. And I'm like, what's this? And I clicked on it. And then 2 hours later, 1 a.m., I just went into these YouTube Shorts. But I have to tell you, one of the shorts, there are all of these 911 calls.
Okay.
And so they'll play the 911 call and they won't really say what happens. It's just the call. And so if you go into the comment section, usually the first comment tells the story. And there was one that blew my mind. So again, for parents, I want to throw this out there. Just another thing to be worried about. You can count on me for that. You can count on your friend Felicia for all the things you should be fearful of. So in a community Facebook page, a photographer who takes those little baby pictures, you know, where they wrap them up like little beans and take all these little pictures of them.
Yeah.
Her and her daughter were offering the community free baby pictures for infants. And so this woman signed up. She had a brand new newborn. The 911 call was her calling going, I can't feel my face. I can't feel my hands. I'm numbing. I don't know what's going on. And they're asking her questions. And she was like, the photographer, I don't know if I'm having an allergic reaction to these cupcakes that she brought. So this mother-daughter team was looking for a baby to steal. They poisoned cupcakes, came to this mother's house to take pictures of her newborn. They did not get the baby. So thank God. What happened was the woman, I don't know, maybe they thought she would pass out right away or die or whatever. Instead, she just became disoriented and violently ill. So she was oh, you need to go. You need to go. And so they fled without getting the baby. Thank goodness. And then she just got super violently sick and called 911. Can you believe that?
No, I cannot. What the fuck? Why? Because this is not the only like baby kidnapping. I cannot. This is gonna sound dumb, but I just can't imagine. Who wants a baby? I can't put myself in.
I was wondering if you were gonna say that. Who wants a baby that bad?
That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. Just what the fuck? There's like nothing I want less than a baby in my life. Like, and these people are trying to fucking kill people, moms, to take babies. It's so crazy to me. I don't understand it. That's terrible.
It is. Yes, it is absolutely. What did they think they were going to do? They were never going to get away with this. Even if the mother died, they're going to check her Facebook. They're going to they're going to see who poisoned her. They were going to be able to know. And they're going to see the communication with the photographer.
Good point. There's like a huge paper trail now.
Huge. Absolutely absurd.
How are you even teaming up with a second person who wants to steal a baby so bad that you're going to like fucking do it together? That is just, I can't, it's unfathomable to me. And I don't mean to make light of this. Like that totally sucks.
No, batshit crazy. Batshit crazy. All right. I had to share that because it was something I never heard of or never thought of before. And so I wanted to let everybody know.
to be scared of that.
I watched this one. I was going to share it in our, maybe I still will, in our Discord. And it was real found footage. And I'm like, oh no. So it was found footage. It was this man that killed his wife and his daughter, his teenage daughter. But he recorded himself not doing the crime, creating this bunker in the forest. It was like, I believe in Colorado, but I could be wrong. So I'm going to take that back. But a underground bunker, months and months and months in, a forest that wasn't like in his backyard. He had to drive to the forest. It was a public place. And he dug this underground bunker. It had stairs. It had a chimney. He put it full of like, stockpiled it and stuff like that. And he's recording the whole thing. He's saying, can't believe I'm going to do what I'm going to do. But he wasn't saying what he was going to do.
Yeah.
But he had this whole video thing. And so fast forward, he lit his house on fire and he had homemade bombs and stuff all over. So he killed his family and then lit this fire in his house, probably thinking the fire would reach the bombs and explode the entire house and destroy all the footage.
What?
But it didn't. It didn't.
What was the point of taking the footage?
Right.
What?
Why are you taking the footage? If you're not like, are you at least going to keep it like for yourself, for your memories, your creepy ass memories or something? But
a trophy.
No, it seemed like he was going to destroy it all, but his fire didn't do that well. And so they found, his family was not burned. So they were able to see like that they were killed, all this. And they found all the footage and they mapped it out and they found his little bunker and he shot himself as they were converging down on him. But crazy.
Whoa.
That's it for me.
That's fucking wild. I'm glad that they caught that guy. Like, what a fucking idiot. But I'm glad that he was an idiot and got caught because that's terrible.
On his videos, he's like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm really striving to last as long as I can. It's been a dream of mine to live in a hole in the forest, whatever." And it's so weird though. It has his wife too. She had a YouTube channel. She's like, my husband bought me all these supplies. I don't know what she did. She had bunches of ribbons and so I never saw the products, but she had all these crafting supplies. And she's going, he loves me. It's so wonderful. And then on his videos, he's like, she's draining me every last dollar she's spending on her stuff. And, I'm ugly and I don't even know why she loves me. And it was just insane.
Whoa.
Anyway, I went back to it even though I closed up. That's all I got now.
Did you get, was this through a YouTube short as well? Did you get?
Yes, I did find that through one of the shorts, but thank you for reminding me. I have it in my notes and I almost totally glossed over it. It led me to finding a new true crime, just what I need, YouTube channel called Little Shop of Crimes. Little Shop of Crimes. And I thought the guy did excellent coverage of it, and went and followed him on Instagram as well. But Little Shop of Crimes.
Cool.
That's it.
Cool. More stuff to be scared of. Cool.
Yes. Yay. Should we get into it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. More stuff to be scared of. Let's talk about it.
Very long tangent. Oh yeah, here we go. We can add to the list.
Yes, we can add to the list of things we need to worry about. Okay, everyone, just to remind you, we're talking about Leave the World Behind. It was released in 2023 on Netflix, so go check it out. The director was Sam Esmail. He also did, sorry, Sam, that I mispronounced your name. He also did Mr. Robot, Comet, and Homecoming. I haven't seen Homecoming, but I've seen the poster. Did watch Mr. Robot though. All right. The writer of the novel, because it's based on a novel, is Rumaan Alam. And I believe he also was very involved in the movie as well and writing for the movie. The cast is Julia Roberts as Amanda Sanford. Her husband was Ethan Hawke, Clay Sanford. Their children were Farrah Mackenzie as Rose Sanford and Charlie Evans as Archie Sanford. Then we have the amazing, I'm going to mispronounce, so I apologize, Mahershala Ali as G.H. Scott. Marshall.
I thought it was just, yeah.
Okay, the way it's spelled, I was literally pronouncing every single letter in his name. So I'm sure I said it wrong.
I don't know if I said it right either. That's normally how I feel like I've heard other people say it, though.
Okay.
Okay, now you got me second guessing. I don't know.
He's amazing. So you definitely go look up and see. Oh, yeah, you're going to go, oh, him. Yeah, Felicia butchered his name. He was G.H. Scott. What were you going to say? It looked like
nothing. No, nothing.
And then Mahala as Ruth Scott.
Okay.
Excellent. And of course, Kevin Bacon is Danny.
Oh, right. Can't forget the bacon.
Can't forget the bacon.
I was just waiting for him to show up because I knew he was in it. I was like, when
Did
is
we
Kevin
just
Bacon
want to
gonna show
see
up?
him buying stuff at the store?
Right.
That's it. He did a good job at that. All right. So it was hard to find some budget information. I did find this, so I'm going to share it. The budget was 20 to 25 million and box office was 50 million. So did well. Rotten Tomatoes, 75%, IMDb, 6.5 out of 10, and Letterboxd, 2.9 out of 5. I often hear this when I hear people talking about this movie. the movie, I liked the movie. The movie was well done. I hated the ending.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't like that movie. I hated the ending. But I guess the movie was good, but I hated the ending. A lot of people hating on this movie. So
I saw some of that too.
yeah, lot of hate. So I'm excited. I'll be on the opposite side. Hint, hint. All right. So I have this little sentence summary, 2-sentence summary. A family vacation on Long Island is interrupted by 2 strangers bearing news of a blackout. As the threat grows, both families must decide how best to survive the potential crisis, all while grappling with their own place in this collapsing world. All right. So that's everything, right? Yeah. I covered it all.
Yes.
Yes, I did. All right, Tawny. How did you feel about this movie?
Well, I love this movie, and I think you already knew that because I had mentioned it maybe, that I was excited to do it. It was great. This is also probably one of my top favorite movies from 2023. Like, it was so good. It was so great. It was so well executed. I feel like the pacing was phenomenal. I put it on again today to just kind of like skim through it to take my notes, and I ended up watching like 80% of it again. Even though it's like a really long movie, it's like 2 hours. You think, oh, that's going to be really slow, but it's not at all. Like, I feel like I just felt like the pacing was beautiful. It was so well done. The acting was amazing. Dialogue was amazing. Like, cinematography was really interesting. I liked the music choices. Like, everything about it was really great. I don't really have too many gripes, even. So, I mean, I was like way impressed. I really loved it. And Jade loved it too. We watched it together, and it was also one of his favorite 2023 movies as well.
Nice.
So that's how I felt about it. Did you hate it, Felicia?
I am so happy you felt that way about it because I loved it. Steve loved it. He scored it. Like, he scored it. Well, I'll tell you later when he scored it. But he loved this movie. We both said this. I love a movie where once it's over, we're just talking about it.
Yeah.
We're just engaged in conversation and opening up thoughts and ideas and conversation. I loved it. So when people were like, oh, I hate this piece of crap movie, so many people on Letterboxd, 1 star, a half a star. Are you on crack? What kind of movies I know everyone has their opinion. And I know actually Brooke from a podcast on Elm Street didn't like it either. and I don't get it. I don't understand how people don't like this, but I get everybody has their own opinion. I agree with everything you said. The acting was
Brooke,
phenomenal.
are you on crack?
Brooke, are you on crack? Get off that crack, Brooke. It was just beautiful. It was terrifying.
Yeah,
everyone
so
knows
scary.
I love this sort of, oh shit, not today. It's happening. Like crazy shit. It got us thinking and discussing. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I don't have a lot of gripes either. So I have no idea what's happening with everybody in the world not liking it.
Yeah, I was really shocked as well. Before we knew that we were going to do this for the podcast, I agree completely. Like, we talked about it for a long time afterwards. We kept like revisiting it, and it drove me to get online, both of us to get online and read about it and read how other people felt and like look up some stuff. So usually we try not to do that, but like I said, we didn't know we were going to cover it yet. And I saw so many negative comments, and people really didn't like some of the elements of the movie, or felt like, I don't know, but I just was like, I didn't really get a lot of that. I could see where some people were coming from on some of the points, but like, yeah, we both had like a really good time. Even the ending, like, I liked it. Maybe that was the only one that felt a little like pacing wise weird, because you get like the whole monologue from GH, and then it just ends, and so it kind of moves really quickly there at the end. But I don't know, it just was so good, and people were pissed, and I was surprised as well.
Yeah, I also watched it twice, and 2 hours flew by, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I didn't feel like it was too long. Now, the second time watching it, when it got to the point where GH and Amanda are having that heart to heart and they go down and listen to jazz and they dance. At that point, because I was watching it at night, and when it got to that point, I was like, oh, this is going to be the slow part. It's not like I didn't feel, oh, when's this movie going to be over? But I knew it slowed down a lot right here. I stopped it and then went to sleep because it was 1 a.m. and then watched the rest of it the next day. But Steve was excited to watch it with me again.
Yeah.
As well.
It's so good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I guess maybe because we don't have a lot of gripes, I'll mention one. I don't want to say it's a gripe, though. It actually sparked a fun conversation with Steve about this. So Steve brought up, he really loved it. And he goes, the only thing that he had an issue with was the animals. He was like, animals wouldn't react this quickly unless it was a tremendous force present. Because we have wars. So we think about, there's wars everywhere, but just top of mind for me, like the war over between Israel and Palestine. So were all the animals in that area running up to people in that area to warn them, and that there's a big war. We've had big wars everywhere. And because at first I was like, well, if there's a storm coming, animals respond like right away before the storm is even here. And he's like, yeah, but to have that many deer come forward and like try to warn the humans. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And he's like, it just seems like, a lot of animals and that would take a tremendous impact. And he brought up, for example, during COVID. So animals did start showing up during COVID in places where they weren't, but it took months and months. It wasn't like the first week when when the whole world shut down and now animals are coming, down. It took a long time, where this was only seems like a couple of days. So then we just started talking. I was like, what if, because we're left not really knowing what's going on. We don't know. Yeah. I said, what if it was aliens? And he's like, why do you think that? I'm like, because if there were alien ships in the air all over, who knows what type of force or energy or anything that they're emitting, or sounds that maybe animals can hear that we can't. And maybe they were there for a while. This could cause that. And he's like, that's a good point. Yeah, that could be. But we just went into this whole thing about this. And that's what we loved about it, is that we could converse about it.
Yeah, you can go back and forth. Yeah, this was a big complaint I saw as well from people. It was probably the biggest one. People were really pissed about the deer. Like, they were like, what about the deer? And this like didn't seem realistic. And why would you do this? And I don't know. You might have found some of this in your research, so don't let me steal your thunder if you have a note about it. But I'll transition this by saying my one thing that I really didn't like about the movie upon first watch was when at the end, when Archie wakes up he's like sick and his teeth are falling out and he continues to pull out his teeth. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would you keep pulling out your teeth? I was like, this is a dream. It's got to be a dream. It's a dream, 100%. Because why the fuck would you continue to pull out your teeth from your head? This does not make sense to me. And I was like really frustrated by it in the moment. It's not a dream. The movie just continues on. And like, I don't know. It didn't bother Jade as much, but he like read something about how the movie is intended to be kind of dreamlike. And so like in that way, I was able to let go of it a little bit. I still think it's like dumb. I would never. If I touched a tooth and it fell out, you best believe I would not keep touching my fucking teeth because I don't want more to fall out. If there's something that can be done, if I can get healed or whatever. This annoyed me a lot personally. This is like my one thing that annoyed me. But then rewatching the movie, knowing that some of the intention was that it was supposed to feel very dreamlike, I liked it more. I liked the experience of watching it more because it definitely feels like that.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't read anything about it being dreamlike. And I do have several quotes from the it's from the author who worked really closely with the director, and I can share those. I will say about the teeth situation, it was gross. I as well would not pull out my teeth. I don't think that's everybody's reaction though, depending on what it felt like. If it literally felt like nothing was there or was so loose, it was kind of hanging there, you might. It didn't look like he was pulling it out with much effort. But I agree. I was like, stop doing that. I was totally freaked out by it. But I thought if it feels almost like it's just almost numb or just hanging there, obviously it didn't hurt at all.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. It didn't seem to shock him other than they were coming out.
You might if it just felt like rot in your mouth, but it was super gross. So I'm saying I don't feel like I would do that because I get what you're saying. Like, no, but keep them in there until you could get better. But it didn't bother me in a negative way, like that I thought it was stupid because I thought maybe somebody would. I mean, depending on what it felt like, especially if they just felt like they were rotting there or something. All right. So for the author, what I read in a nutshell, and I'll share these quotes, is that it's really just to make us not know. It's to put us in this state. So definitely they're talking about things like race, class, privilege, dependency on technology, war, how we can be taken over so easily, things like that.
Yeah.
But they really wanted you not to know, because this is something I really loved about it, actually. So the end where you see what's going on in the city, but you still don't know. You don't know what it is. You have no idea. Is it aliens? Is it another country? What is it?
Is it ourselves? Yeah, because that's like the whole conversation that GH has with Clay is, you scare people and make them turn on each other.
Yes. So it's yes. That's what I got from it, that war is ourselves turning on each other. Like this is the next stage. But that's not the ultimate player. That's not the one that's in control. Ourselves is not in control. So who is the one that's causing us all to do this? But let's see. So the author said, to end with the particular jolt of humor that Sam does is so satisfying and so rewarding. It's sort of self-reflective because he's a filmmaker. He's also worked in television, and he's sort of asserting something about the power of that medium and its hold over this one character. I say it's funny, but I don't think it's a joke. I don't think it's a joke on Rose. I don't think it's a joke on the audience. I don't think it's a joke on Friends. It's a reminder that art is kind of a slave. The theatrical experience of watching this movie is so powerful because I've had the chance to see audiences respond to the ending 3 times now, and nobody really knows what to make of it. They're like, is this funny? Is this scary? Is it really over? And I love that so much. So it's all about like, we really don't know how to feel at all, was the aim. He says, my first editor on the book said to me, and by the way, I read that the book follows very closely to everything we saw. The main differences is Ruth is actually GH's wife, not his daughter. So they're a married couple in the book.
Got it.
What was her name again? Sorry. After Rose watches Friends, she actually collects supplies and goes back. So it ends with her headed back to the other, the rest of the family. But that's where it ends.
Okay.
And then there was like some other really tiny little thing that didn't make a big difference at all. So other than that, and I also heard the book's ending or the book theme throughout is even more ambiguous. Like this whole thing from GH, I couldn't really tell if it's in the book or not, or this was elaborated on more in the movie, but in the book, it's even more ambiguous. And how it's supposed to be is we don't know. There was something along the lines of GH, his ramble of, what's happening and us turning on each other is his possible explanation for what's going on based on his lived experience.
Right.
But if in the movie any of the other characters were able to share, they would have shared what they think it is based on their lived experiences. So it wasn't necessarily tying everything up in a bow. This is what's happening. It's just what GH at this moment, with all the information he has, what could be happening, but he doesn't really know what's happening.
Right.
And neither do we.
Okay.
He said, my first editor on the book said to me, I understand that it's imperative that you dance around what's really happening. And then she mentioned aliens. And I was like, aliens, really? That's where your head went? And I was like, yeah. That's exactly
Felicia.
where it went.
Yes.
And he goes, but I also find that so pleasurable because I don't get to control what people are thinking. And readers come to something with their own frame of reference. So like me, I came to it with aliens Steve definitely did not, so.
Yeah.
And the last thing I just wanted to say is the author is saying this again. He's describing this scenario of attack. Oh, this is to what I was saying just a moment ago. He's describing this scenario of attack, which will induce uncertainty in the population. In a way, what he's afraid of is exactly what he's experienced. It's just uncertainty. He's talking about GH. You as the viewer have to fill in the blanks of what that uncertainty looks like, whether it's a cyber attack, whether it's an act of war, whether it's an environmental disaster, whether it's just a collapse of civic order. That's what's so scary about it, is that you just don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
So I just wanted to share all of that. I definitely love it for that reason, because even if GH said all of that, or I'm Amanda with Ruth and we're seeing what's happening in the city, we're left with exactly they don't know, and neither do we know. We have as much information as they do. That's it. We don't have any more information than they do. So we are in their shoes when we watch this.
Yeah, and I like that too, because then we don't have an answer. And even we as the audience actually get more information than they do, because we are shown a couple of instances, like shots where the TV cuts on. I don't know if you remember this, and it has like the map, but no one's in the room to see that. Or like when Clay gets out of the car and the radio turns on for like a half second and he's not listening to that, but we get it as the audience. So we even know more than they do, but
You're right.
That's still not enough to put together what happened. And so that was the biggest complaint I saw with people in the deer. They were like, the deer thing seems supernatural, and this is not like a supernatural movie. But like, we actually kind of don't know towards the end, And in the end, I don't think that there's really anything supernatural happening. But I like the, stylistic choice of making this a very dream-like nightmare scenario. And like, I can buy that. I can get on board with that. And that's why these weird things are happening. The flamingos in the pool, and rewatching through that lens, I think could make this a more enjoyable experience for people who maybe didn't like it to begin with.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I do think that's cool, because you're mentioning you don't think it's supernatural. And I don't think so either. I really do think it was supposed to be like the way animals communicate with us. They just stare at us. Rizzo does it all the time.
Yeah.
She sits and stares at me.
It's very intense. Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, is it this? Is it that? Until I find the thing that it is, especially if there's fireworks or if there's going to be a storm. So they do communicate they literally just stare at you. Rizzo does it all the time. I'm going to take a picture and post it on our social media, because she'll do it tonight. And she's just like almost trying to communicate with me through her eyeballs, just like, please get it. So I think that that's what it was supposed to be. But the cool thing is, the author really just didn't want us to know, or like, just whatever it is, whatever we bring from our lived experiences is what it could be. We just don't know.
So going back a little bit to the ending, what was your kind of feeling on it?
So the first time I saw it, I thought the city was being attacked, which it definitely is, but I was trying to figure out if it's aliens. Is there some Godzilla situation going on over there? Because we see bombs and stuff. Or is it a foreign country? Another country that's attacking us. So that's what I thought. With the Friends, where it just ends with her watching Friends, I was kind of like, huh? The first time I watched it, like, okay, so I'm not sure what to think about this. Now, the second time I watched it, the piece that GH says of us turning on each other, then I was like, oh, that could be just everybody turning. So it has begun. But it also might not be. But I thought of it that way. And then the Friends, I wondered if it was any type of a commentary on how we make ourselves oblivious to, because Julia Roberts talks about this as well. We think because we have paper straws, or maybe we pay for a plastic bag or bring our own reusable bags to the store, that we're making an impact, but we're not. And maybe this, things need our attention and need us to come together and take action, but we numb ourselves with whatever it is, what we're watching, what we're reading. And we kind of intentionally turn off the things that are scary or bigger around us, and numb ourselves out, so that we don't have to actually face them outside of the little things we're doing that aren't making a difference. So I thought maybe that's what it was. That's what I was thinking. What about you?
I don't know that I had. I mean, I guess I'll just say, when I first watched it, I felt optimistic. I felt like it was an optimistic ending because what I felt was, well, number one, she's happy because she gets to watch this final episode. So that's cool because that's been her like only goal the whole time. And then, but I'm also thinking, we don't see it on in the movie or on screen, but I'm assuming that the rest of everybody will meet her at this place because we know that GH and Clay now know about that house as well. And so you assume that they're all just going to go meet up at that house and stay in the bunker.
I did think that too. Yes.
Yeah. So like, I kind of liked it for that reason, that it felt to me like a somewhat optimistic ending. Obviously there's bombs going off and there's going to be a ton of casualties, but our main protagonists, the people that we're seeing this story through their eyes, they might be okay, at least as far as what we've gotten to in the timeline of the movie. But my only other thought that I kind of revisited today when I was watching it was actually like kind of in a positive way. Like it was like, maybe this is so interesting that we have different thoughts on it. I definitely picked up on what you're saying in the conversation with Amanda with Ruth in the cabin, where she is saying like, we kind of we know deep down that we're not doing, what we need to be doing. But I took this like endless quest to watch the last episode of Friends to be a little bit more just like, it's okay to pursue like small moments of happiness, because it's like really kind of all we have to keep ourselves going a little bit. Like that is in the end, one of the things that leads them to that house is her like insistence on watching this thing, and it may be their saving grace, it might be what saves them. So I don't know, that was kind of my only thought, but that's interesting because I do think a lot of this movie was, optimism versus cynicism. And you've got two sets of characters where one is an optimist and the other one is a pessimist in very broad strokes. Obviously, they're not the same exact character, but like Amanda definitely and Ruth are the pessimists of the duos, and Clay and GH are the optimists. And so it's funny to leave. I feel like both of us have a totally opposite read on that last scene. So, I mean, mission accomplished, because that seems like the whole goal of this movie and story is to leave it open for interpretation.
I love that, though, that you brought that up, because I can absolutely resonate with that. And it makes me feel good, because when I think about when things are going on in the world that are really depressing, and I get into this pit of looking at social media and starting to feel depressed and starting to feel like everything is falling apart in the world, you have to you still have to celebrate your life and how you're living, or your life and the positive things that are happening in your life. Yeah. You have to rejoice in that. You have to enjoy. You have to find those moments too. You have to actively seek out positive, happy, to counter the negative that's going on. So I love that view. I did feel good that I had no doubt that they were going to make it to go to that house. That's where they're going to go next, and they're going to find the girl. But then, of course, my mind went darker of how long we'll have to be down there. What will happen to the world outside? Hopefully, if they're hiding down there, that they won't be discovered. So they're waiting in the house. And what if, whatever's in the city starts going through the homes, home by home, looking for people. And so then I just started to feel terrified again. But I also told Steve, we need to buy a plot of land and build a badass bunker like that. Yeah. That bunker was sick. Yeah. Everybody, this should be standard for everybody. It doesn't have to be that big and lavish, but every house should come with a bunker. It's so cool. I really want that bunker.
Yeah, it would be cool. I feel like having anything like this would be really dope. I knew somebody once who had a hatch in their house, so that if there was ever a like a home invasion. It was like a little trap door in their like bedroom closet where they could open it up and go down a ladder that took them to the basement close to the like back sliding door. So if they ever needed to like get the fuck out of the house, they could do it. Isn't that fucking wild? I was like, that's brilliant. I mean, you know, you and I, people terrified of everything. That's
every house should have versions of
escape
this.
hatch.
Just in case. You don't know. Will you have to use it? Probably not. The likelihood is small.
Yeah.
But if you do, you're super happy you have it versus no one has it now. So,
yeah.
I mean, if you need it, you're screwed.
Put them in. Those escape hatches.
Yes. I do have this note here that says blissfully ignorant. And so I'm wondering if that's was a note to, you know, Rose watching.
Yeah, you know what else I'm thinking as we're talking a little bit more about this is because she does have a conversation with her brother where she's like, he's like, why aren't you just dropping this? And she's like, it just makes me happy and I just need to feel that right now. Is that like,
yes,
okay? You know, she's just like, get off my back about it, which is what made me feel like it was a positive thing. But then she says, I care about them. And I think
she does. She says she cares about them.
She cares about them, which actually is like a little bit interesting to think about now because she almost seems to care about these fictional characters more than the other people in her life. And so that's I'm doubling back on my own comment here. And I'm thinking maybe that's fucked, you know, because I feel like that is kind of the way that we operate now, too, with social media and all of that. Like sometimes we can like care way more about people we don't even know online rather than the people in front of us.
You're right. People that might say something or this or that, and it completely, you know, destroys us or upsets us. Not necessarily us, but I'm just saying in general, who even are they?
Yeah.
And who even cares? Yeah, that's a really good point. But guess what? I think it can be a mixture of both.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think everything we shared is true. We do need to escape.
Yeah.
We need to have those moments of, I love completely unplugging my brain and playing a video game.
Yeah.
It's completely brainless work and sometimes work. It's completely brainless activity. And you need that sometimes. And then also putting, too much stock into what people, strangers think that, I think it's many layered. I think all can be true.
Or caring more about fictional people rather than other people in your life. Like,
yes, I've even talked about this. I think I talked about this a couple episodes ago where, you know, you watch a movie, okay, and you love Ryan Gosling. We love Ryan Gosling. He's great. He's so much fun. He's so funny. He's nice on the eyes. And so he's a good actor as well, right? He's not just a pretty face. He's a really amazing actor. And you could be so consumed with thinking you know him as a person and you love Ryan Gosling and he does something terrible. And you're like defending him. No, Ryan you don't fucking know him. I think you're a really nice guy. I'm just saying we don't know these people and we think that we're somehow connected to or friends with or somehow know more about this celebrity or influencer that we love so much. So whatever they say, whatever they spout, we just blindly follow. We may just blindly follow because we think they're so special because we like them because they were great in a movie we saw or every movie we see.
Yeah.
They're just people.
Yeah.
So, okay, I've been feeling passionate about that too. I think it's all of these things.
Yeah. And I what I like about this movie too, I don't like all of the characters because some of them are mean. Like but I like all of their characters in the way that they are flawed human beings. Like I still don't really want to see any of them die or have a horrible time, right? Like I'm not necessarily rooting for all of them, I guess, but I guess I'm not rooting for that. Like I said, I don't want them to die. You know, Amanda, I think is she was annoying me all the way through the movie, but I think it's good. That's her character, right? It's like, you can't just like let something go, you know, like she keeps saying really terrible things to people. And it's like, bro, just give everybody a second. Okay. Like everybody's dealing with this terrible situation. You don't need to like make it worse. You know, she's like, spills the beans about the plane crash and freaks out Ruth, who knows her mom was supposed to be flying. And her immediate reaction, once she knows that she didn't know that, is like, she's defending herself. She's like, you can't protect her. Like, she doesn't even apologize. She doesn't take a second to think about how other people received that information. So she annoyed me for that reason. And I didn't like her as like a person, but I liked her as a character, if that makes sense. Because I thought it was realistic.
So I felt that way about both Ruth and Amanda. Both of them were driving me crazy. Like, immediate attitude with Ruth. And it was so, the first watch, I'm like, oh, like, so she, and by the way, Amanda too, both of them. I was like, Amanda, just leave your husband alone. He's trying, you know what I mean? Or just be open to hearing these people out, like what's going on.
Yeah.
Just be open to hearing, I'm sorry. Just be open to hearing them out, like what's going on. They're obviously dressed very nice. I'm sure they weren't robbers that dress super nice to go rob a house so you would believe them. I mean, come on, let's hear them out. But and then Ruth was the same though, just relentlessly snotty. So I can see how both of them are just like, screw you. And at one point, Ruth goes, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? And then fast forward to later when they're in the cabin, she says, why are you like this? And I said, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? And then it clicked in my head. Oh, these women are like mirrors for each other. Yeah. They're totally mirrors for each other. And it took me watching it the second time and that clicking. And then I felt for both of them, even on a deeper level. Yeah. Ruth is using this bravado and this anger, and this is her lived experience from whatever her lived experience is. We don't get a whole lot of Ruth's lived experience, but and this is her defending herself. She's bringing to the table everything that she doesn't like or that makes her weary of white people, because she mentions that as well with her dad. She goes, and just remember, mom would agree with me on this. Yeah, we can't trust anybody, especially white people, and so that's their lived experience, and so she's bringing that to the table. And by the way, I looked at Steve and I was like, stuff like this goes down. That's absolutely right. You can't trust anyone. And so I love that element too of how Danny, he's a caring guy. And at the end of the day, he doesn't want to help. And then they keep coming to him. And then maybe when shit gets real crazy, they come and try to break into his house. You know what I mean? He's taking care of his family. It's so hard. I think all of these people want to be good people, but they also all want to protect. They all want to protect themselves, you know? And so it's super complex. Anyways. And then going back to Amanda, you can see these moments of where obviously her lived experience that we don't know a whole ton about has hardened her as well. And I think the combative nature of her and Ruth right off the bat doesn't make it any better, because she does warm up to GH in a significant way. Yeah. But he's consistently soft and kind, right? And so I loved Ethan Hawke's character too. God, he was just me too. Such a loving husband. I was like, oh, honey, he's such a great husband and father. Like, he just wants to make it better. But anyways, I started to feel for both of them, like you were saying, really not liking these two characters, loving the acting for sure, but like you don't really like them. They're difficult. And then coming to this time, like when they're in the cabin together, where you're like, wow, I feel for these people, and they're just terrified, and they're bringing all their baggage to the situation. And, you know,
none of them are like one-dimensional characters, maybe except for the kids. We can revisit that in a minute, but like they aren't really the focus. Like, but definitely these four characters are, and none of them are one-dimensional characters. And like you said, you know, you start to understand them and get why they are the way they are. I love that conversation where she says, "Why are you like this?" And she goes through her thing, and she says, "I don't want to be like this. I hate being terrible all the time." And I think like, every one of us can identify with that on some level. Because I definitely have had spouts of insane cynicism. And I'm like, I do not want to feel this way. I do not want to live life and view the world through this cynical lens, because it's fucking exhausting and it makes you distrust people, and it like cuts off your connection to other human beings. It's just like not good. And so I really felt for her there. And I also really felt, so I like felt that, you know, that in my, like in my being, I was like, I totally get that. And the other moment that I felt really strongly was Ruth begging her dad, GH, not to go when they're going to Danny's to get help for Archie, the son. And she's like, her panic, she's like, don't leave me. You said you weren't going to do this, and you can't go because you're not going to come back. This isn't going to be a fine thing. And I don't know, something about that. I like really struck a chord with me, because I've always been anxious. You know, we've talked about this a lot. I'm an anxious person. And this would be me in this situation. I don't think I would be the same level of like pessimistic or distrusting really as Ruth, but like in this moment where she does not want her dad to leave, it's her last living parent, we think, because her, you know, her mom is likely dead. And she's like, please, please, please don't go. And he will not listen to her. And so, but like, I just, something about this just really fucking freaked me out. Cause I was like, this would be me, dude. I'd be like, please, for whatever you do, I'm so scared. Don't leave. And so that's a lot of her reasoning too. She's just scared, you know?
Tawny, I 100% agree. This moment, gosh, the acting in this movie by all of them are so phenomenal. So phenomenal.
So
and this
good.
moment, when you mentioned it, I actually got cold chills, because I would absolutely respond this way. I wouldn't want to be away from anyone. My kids would need to be close. If Steve was like, oh, hey, I'm going to drive up the road and check this out, I would not want to be separated. What if something happens to you and now we can't figure this out together? I'm on my own. And especially for Ruth, she has nobody else. Like there is nobody else. So now she's just going to be here with this woman she doesn't get along with and her kids, and she's on her own. How is she on her own going to protect her house, get these people out of her house? How is she going to survive? Like that's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
I was just going to say, while we're kind of talking about this moment, when they go to Danny's house, another complaint I saw, or I think maybe Jade had come across it, was just that something about Clay being like totally useless as a character. And I like do not think so, because I felt while I was watching the scene when GH and Danny like pull guns on each other and they're like fighting over, and he's trying to get them to leave and doesn't want to give them medicine. And Clay gets in the middle of it, and he's like, I don't know how to do anything. I just need your help. Like, you're a person who's prepared for this. And in that moment, I felt he's totally playing to his ego. Like, he knows that this is a person who's going to respond in this way. And that was Clay's strength, that he knew people. Like, he was good with people, and it didn't make him useless. Like, sure, maybe he doesn't know how to, you know, travel around. Like, he gets lost and feels really bad about that. He feels, I don't know, like helpless because of that. But like, this was a great moment, and people like really didn't like it. But I thought it was like, I didn't think that it actually showed how useless he was, because people skills are invaluable.
And he proved that by being able to get what he wanted. And I would like to say to everybody, we would like to believe, like in every single movie, that we're the Liam Neeson in Taken who's going to get our kid back. Or we're we're these characters. We are not. I loved Clay because I feel we are Clay.
Yeah, totally.
We are regular ass human beings. Because if you think of GH, which I loved his character, I'm just saying, he's the character that has the inside scoop.
Yeah.
He understands, I don't know if he has a military background, but he knew about that, like the satellite phone, and that the neighbors had it. He has the inside scoop. He already comes to us in the movie knowing that things aren't right. He already knows. Okay, so that's our Liam Neeson from Taken character.
Right.
He knows, and he has an ability to figure things out more than everybody else. And that is not us. We are normal ass people, and we want to be that person. And I think we would all respond the same way as one of these characters that does not have the information and is just doing our best. I like to think if we were invaded, I would do this, 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 and this, and this, and this. But I think I'm very terrified of that idea because I don't know what the hell I would do. And all of my kids would be looking to me as knowing what I would do and how I would protect them. And I don't. I would do my best, but really, what would we do?
Yeah.
And so I think maybe people didn't like him because they are him. And I'm saying I am too. And we want to see people that are going to be able to go in there and be able to be like, oh, get in this fight and take people down. Like, I'd probably get my ass kicked. I'd like to think I'd be the person that would beat down the intruder, but realistically.
In reality. I think you're totally right, because there's a lot of moments where he feels helpless and he feels bad about it. Like, he gets lost and doesn't fucking tell anybody except for Ruth later when they're like smoking. And he also like comes across that woman who needs his help, but he can't understand her. And so he leaves her there, but feels fucking bad. Like, you can tell how bad he feels about it. And all of those things make him feel helpless. But like you're saying, if we were in a situation like this, we would feel helpless too. What the fuck do? You would like not know anything or what to do. And that's great. It's great to see all these different facets.
Yes. And I want to put out there, because it's not often talked about, but sometimes the pressure that men grow up with and feel themselves of being able to handle it all.
Yeah.
Being the one that's going to protect the family, that's going to figure out the answers, and he is trying, but he doesn't know what the fuck to do, because what do you do?
Yeah, totally.
There's everyone's yelling at each other because no one knows what the fuck to do, right? Yeah. So they're all yelling at each other.
I love that moment. This is a quick moment, but I love that moment where they're like, they wake up from bed and she tells him something, and it's when she gets the alerts on her phone, and he's like kind of like blasé about it. And she's like, why are you acting so like blasé about this? She was like, I trusted you to handle this. Did you forget that strangers are sleeping in our house? Like, I thought you would deal with this. And I was like, this is such a real moment, because she just got mad that he didn't react the way that she wanted him to, and like took it out on him real fast. And then he was very like placating, right? Because again, he like, I think him and GH have a similar soft approach with people. And so he's like, okay, I'm going to go into town. He comes up with a plan immediately. I'm going to go into town. I'm going to get a newspaper. I'm going to talk to some people. I'll be back. And he like goes into action. It was like, that was a great, you can tell these people have been in a long-term relationship.
Yes. Yeah, because she says something and he asks a question about it. And she goes, are you asking me that right now?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Should I know? Why are you being so... Yeah, and she freaks out. But if you think about it, these two men are trying so hard to figure it out, and everyone is just looking to them to figure it out and yelling at them that they're not figuring it out.
Yeah.
Imagine the stress. Oh my gosh. That's incredible.
Amanda keeps yelling about how there's no plan. I was annoyed because I was like, put together a plan then. If you want a plan, like, get it together then.
Yeah. And I think that's how she's dealing with it. I think her anger or her aggression is not the right word, but, just how she is making her feel strong. But she's also terrified because she knows she doesn't know what to do either.
Yeah.
So it's almost like she feels if she is, yelling and aggressive the way she is, that it'll snap other people into action because she doesn't know what to do. Obviously, I don't think she didn't contribute any suggestion at all during the whole entire time. Which, I mean, I don't know that I would have as many suggestions either. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be terrifying.
It would. Honestly, this is probably me too. To be honest, is like, what do we need? This is me. Because she does have that moment where she's like, what do we need to do? We need to fill the bathtubs with water. We need to get blah, blah, blah. She like runs through a whole list. That would be me 100%. But like, would I do all of those things? I think I would actually. But she doesn't go and do any of that. She just is like, what do we need to do all this stuff. And they're like, hey, let's take a breather. But I think I would feel so unsure of myself, and I would be scared to go and do those preparations for fear of what it would mean. Like, yeah, we are really in a bad situation.
Ooh, and they mentioned that about, we didn't tell you
Yeah.
about that tanker because of what it might mean. We were scared
Yeah.
of what it might mean. So she's saying all of these things and everyone's like, hey, let's calm down. Let's wake up the next morning. Figure it out then. So she doesn't do it, but then Clay does. He ends up
that was
filling the bathtub.
So smart. Because they do lose power, so it was a good idea.
Yeah. Oh man, so terrifying. I have some things I thought were interesting, but I didn't know where to fit them in. So just some facts. You guys probably already know this, but former U.S. President Barack and First Lady Michelle Obama executive produced this film through their Higher Ground Productions banner. Okay, so when I heard that, I was like, do they know something that we don't know? But then I saw that Barack just really liked the book. He read the book and really liked it and recommended it. But I was like,
I saw a thing, and I don't know. I didn't like verify this, so maybe we should go and do a little bit of searching. But I thought I saw somewhere that the author of the book did say that like Barack on first name basis. Obama got in touch with him and said, like, you're really close, but there are like a couple of differences that would make this more close to reality. So like, I think they do know from, holding such a high level of office, probably just how things would go. And I took that to mean, like the cutting off of communication, or, maybe I don't know what it was that he offered, but we should look into that and see what we can find. Cause I'd be curious to know if, number one, if that was true. Cause I just read it in like a comment somewhere.
Yeah, because I know in the book, it does have the cutting off of communication.
Okay.
And stuff. But I believe, I could be wrong, that GH's speech is not in the book. So maybe
maybe it was that
piece to it. Yeah.
Plan, which makes sense. I feel like that whole spiel is like, that would be a really good way to destabilize a nation for sure.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. Okay. We'll do some research on that and share what we find. I also have, so I knew that the waves behind the bedroom, like behind the bed in the master bedroom, the lighting was changed, but I did not realize that the picture of the waves in the upper bedroom changed during the movie. The tide is rising.
Oh.
I noticed one scene where the lighting kind of was different in the back that drew my attention, but I didn't realize the tide was rising. Same applies for the black and white picture in the living room, which resembles a changing Rorschach picture.
Fuck. Now I can't say it either. Rorschach
picture. So there's that. Okay, this one I really liked. I thought this was fun. Kevin Bacon's character is very detailed prepper. He has even so far as he has a willow tree growing in his yard. ASA, or aspirin, is synthesized from willow bark.
Oh.
I just love these little details. Like that is, dude, I'm telling you, I want to buy a piece of land, live a happy, quiet life, write books, do podcasting, but also be a Kevin Bacon aspirin. Danny. Yeah. I want to be prepped.
You know what I couldn't figure out is if he knew that bunker was there, why wouldn't he go be in it? Oh, maybe he had his own.
Yeah, I think
he probably had his own.
Yeah, he had his own. And if you think about it, he has freaking aspirin growing in the front yard. I think he felt his situation was fully, he had it how he wanted for him and his family.
Okay,
so,
got it.
Yeah, I think he felt good. But, I mean, depending on how many people come down that road, I mean, even if your whole family is shooting, you have glass windows everywhere.
Yeah, they're pretty exposed. They're like,
I bet he has his own bunker.
Yeah, he would have to, I would think.
Oh, for sure.
I thought for sure that GH was going to have a bunker or a panic room, because early in the movie, he mentions, I have a subcontractor, and a lot of details were his idea. And then later you learn that the prepper is his contractor. And so I'm thinking, they've got a bunker or a panic room, and they're just waiting for this family to leave, because there was also another line from Ruth or maybe it was from GH, where they say, like, we need them to leave so that we can be safe, or something like that.
Ruth, yeah.
So I'm like waiting for them to leave and reveal a bunker. And then GH has that conversation with Amanda about, what his client said to him. And then he's like, I'll win you back over. And I'm like, they're going to do the panic room now. Like, they're going to show the bunker now. And there was no fucking bunker. And I was really disappointed by that because I was like really holding out for it.
Yeah, you're right. He said a lot of the details were his, but there was nothing that was like doomsday prepper level details. So I think maybe that's a good point. That was just a way to introduce him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. Oh, good point.
Anyway, sorry.
No. GH's neighbor's last name is Huxley, an homage to Aldous Huxley, who wrote Brave New World and other novels that painted pictures of dystopian futures where technology has become the thing that corrupts humanity and is used as a way to harm people.
Oh, cool. Nice little Easter egg.
Amanda's laptop and the emergency kits that Danny buys at the store are made by E-Corps, a fictional corporation that was central to the plot of the previous project by writer-director Sam Esmail, the series Mr. Robot. A book, Beach Towel, written by another Mr. Robot character, Irving, also appears.
Okay. I also saw a note that the mention of the power plant meltdown was something that happened in Mr. Robot as well. That Ruth mentions.
Cool. That's cool.
Those are neat ties. I was wondering about the book because they specifically showed my second watch on it. I saw that they had like a close up of the book, and that was when I noticed the waves on the wall. I didn't notice that they had changed, but I just started thinking more about that choice. And then there's the beach book, and I was like, why is this? But I don't really have an answer. but that makes sense that they called attention to it because it's like a little nod.
Yeah, I saw Mr. Robot, but it wasn't like I was a huge Mr. Robot fan, followed all the characters. I just saw several episodes and thought it was good. And so I wouldn't have recognized those things. But yeah, that's very cool. Now, this is thought-provoking. I don't have anything additional on it, but the name of the oil tanker is White Lion. The White Lion was the first ship to ever bring African slaves to the colonies.
Oh.
I know, I was like, what is that all about when I read it? Like, I don't know, maybe a harbinger of doom. So curious. And then my last is from the director. He said he hoped the film's ending would provoke conversation. The expectation is at the end of traditional disaster films, your cast of characters overcomes the disaster and the world reverts back to some sane semblance of normalcy. I knew that I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah. One of the other things that I wrote down, just in like connected to your comment about the changing artwork and stuff, I didn't notice that those things changed, but I did notice on my rewatch, like the colors a lot more. Like the whole bedroom of Amanda and Clay is blue. Their car's blue. Like there's like a lot of blue imagery. And there is throughout the whole movie, but they even stay in that blue bedroom of GH's. And I don't know, for some reason, I just read that as maybe cold, right? Like it's like a reflection of her being so cold because then GH and Ruth go and stay in the basement room where it's very warm. There, there's like a lot of tungsten light.
Yeah.
And then they kind of go into these like neutral zones a little bit, like the kitchen, which the cabinets are yellow, or the living room where it's like that black and white painting. There's really like not as much color. And so I don't know. There might be more to that. I stopped to be paying attention to it about halfway through the movie, but.
That is cool. I like that. One of the part that I thought was bizarre was when all the flamingos were there. I think because they looked to me very CGI-esque. But and then it was like, wow, migration patterns are changing. Like, why? And then I thought, oh, well, that sound. That is crazy. That sound. Where is it coming from?
Yeah.
Like what? Oh my gosh. I think it's like, it seems like it's all happening these 2 days, and it is for us as we're watching, but obviously this has been happening for a lot longer, and who knows what else, who knows how long maybe sounds, how they have those dog whistles where the dog can hear it but you can't hear it.
Yeah.
Who knows what's been going
what
on
else
for
is going
months.
Totally. Yeah, true, good point. And in counterpoint to Steve about the migration or I keep not pets, animal issue is, yeah, maybe something has been going on for a lot longer than we even realize.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite things about this movie is just the conversation, because you're bringing me back now to all the things that happen, right? And the flyers being rained down and how they find it and they bring it to Danny, and Danny says he knows somebody else who found one that was written in Korean, and I don't know the language that the one that they find was written in, but
it was Arabic.
Arabic. Okay.
Yeah.
Different language. So but it's like specifically meant to confuse. And I love that GH goes like, the truth is like, even super powerful people, the most they can hope for is a heads up. And the actual truth of the matter is no one is in control. I love that fucking, because
yes.
I believe that, like, as a person, I think that's kind of like, I think you work enough places, you realize shit is just hanging on by a thread. You know what I mean? Like, and that's got to be true all the way up to some degree. And so, can people even be this organized to launch something like this? Like, no one is actually in control. And that's also why I love the Cube, because the Cube has kind of a similar moment of dialogue, because it is sort of like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, who can be in this control? Aliens. Unless they get a cold, I guess.
Please
take them
let
all
it be
down
aliens.
with a cold.
Yeah.
That's all I got. You got anything else?
My only other little note is that that brother, dude, he fucking sucked. I hated him.
Yeah.
I will say
jerk.
He was such a jerk. Although this is another thing that Jade and I had a whole conversation about. So for what that's worth, I feel like it still spurred a discussion. But I was like, dude, this guy is such a dick. And they're like in this bad situation, and all he's doing is scaring his sister. And then she's like worried. It just at every turn he says like the worst possible thing that you could say to a sibling. And I'm an only child, so I don't know. It's like, and I was talking to Jade about this, and Jade said, I really think that is how you would be, though. Like, you don't have siblings, but like as a sibling, you are kind of just shitty to your siblings. And I don't know that this situation would change it. I'm like, I guess. And I could see also how you wouldn't want to change how you acted with your sibling because you didn't want to scare them. Like, if you were always kind of a dick and this is the moment where you decide to be like nice, could it also act as a way of confirming something really scary is happening and scare them more? Maybe. But overall, didn't like him. He was mean.
Yeah, those are really good thoughts. Because there was moments where I thought, okay, he's going to be kind and he's not. And I'm like, what a jerk. And I think that my kids would be terrified, and they're kind to each other though. And they also get on each other's nerves, but he seemed so cruel. But you're right. I didn't grow up with siblings either. So that makes sense. Maybe even how you were mentioning, maybe it also makes him feel safe. So if we're going back to when Clay said, we didn't tell you, I think because we were just scared of what it might mean. If they acknowledged it, maybe that's also Archie's way. If he acknowledges that something bad is happening or acknowledges his sister's fear, what does that mean? So he just reverts back. So maybe those moments where we think he is going to be kind and he doesn't, that's his conscious choice because he doesn't want to face that something might be wrong.
Yeah, could be.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that.
But be nice. That was my last point.
All right, friend, let's rate it.
Okay.
All right, Tawny, what do you rate this movie?
Okay. Whew. This was a toughie. I really had to look at a lot of my scores. I think I'm going to give this a 4.8.
Nice score.
At first I was like, I don't really have a reason not to rate it a full 5, except when I hold it up to the other 5s, I don't know that I quite liked it as much. It doesn't like have like that very special, we say this before, we've said this before. It's like you feel it in your heart if it's a full 5. And I don't know that I could quite get there, but it was really fucking close because I don't have a lot of issues with the movie. It was amazing. I loved it. And so I'm pushing it up above my 4.75s even. That's like Midsummer, A Quiet Place, and I'm giving it a 4.8.
Wow, that is awesome. That's a good score. All right. So I'm giving it a 4.9.
Ooh, okay.
I was going between 4.85 and 4.9. And I even went maybe 4.89. But then I have a movie that is 4.89. And I was staring at it and thinking, do I like it as much as that movie? And I was like, I think I like it a little bit more. As I'm talking, it was The Exorcist. So The Exorcist, the original, I tried to kind of take that out because it's just such a different viewing experience.
Yeah.
So I was really looking at it to all the 4.9s, and I definitely feel like I liked it more than The Exorcist in the sense that I was just going on and on, everything I explained about talking about it and stuff. And then 4.9, I was like, what was really holding me up was Caveat, actually.
Me too.
Yeah. I was like, do I like it as much as Caveat? And I feel like Caveat is one of those special movies, like several that we've watched, where as it settles with me, the longer it settles with me, the more I love it. Barbarian is one of those. Whenever I go back and look at the score I gave Barbarian, I am so shocked because I tell everybody they need to watch it all the time. So I think... Right. So I thought, okay, when I was back the first time I watched Caveat, I think that I can say that I liked these two equally. And you never know, maybe this one as it simmers we'll love it more and more. Yeah, definitely.
I also gave Caveat a 4.9, and I was thinking, do I like it as much as that? I don't think I can go as high. That's what brought me back down to a 4.8. So I don't think I have any other 4.8s. I got 4.75s. I have Leave the World Behind at a 4.8, Caveat at a 4.9, and then the 5s, so got some markers in between the 4.75 and 5 now.
Yeah, I remember you talking about Caveat, and you enjoyed that more than this one for sure.
Yeah, like you said, it feels special. There's like a special place, and that was also my thinking is, I loved this movie. I don't know about if you'd ask me 6-7 months from now if it's one of the first that sprang up in my head for my favorite of all time. I don't know that it would be one of my first go-tos, and that's why I think I couldn't go full 5.
That is a really good point. I completely agree. This would not be in my top 5, maybe not even top 10. I'm not sure. I mean, of movies, but definitely people should watch it. You're making me question myself about Caveat because I started to think about it. And I think I'm going to change my score, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to give it a 4.89. I am going to go to my 4.89.
You're changing
my score for Leave the World Behind.
Okay. I was like, we're going way back to change a score here.
No,
I thought you meant for
Felicia,
Caveat.
Another day. No, Caveat's 4.9, and I'm just wondering if I felt about this movie. I felt really confident, but if I felt I'm sorry. Okay. I think you could cut that all out. It's going to be a 4.9. You know what throws me off with, okay, actually you could leave it in. I told her to cut it out. I'm asking her to leave it in. I went back to 4.9 because I looked at 2023 movies that were 4.9. Talk to Me was a 4.9, A Girl Who Walked Alone at Night. And I did enjoy that. Fresh. So what I think should happen is I should bump Caveat up to 5 maybe, or a 4.95, but another day. So sticking with Leave the World Behind, 4.9.
Okay. Awesome. What a great movie to kick off 2024. I feel great about it.
I can't wait. And next time, our next episode for January is going to be Tawny's pick, which is Neon Demon from 2016. I don't know why, but from 2016. I've never heard of this. I have no idea what it is.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited. This is one of those that's been on my list forever since we started the podcast. And I'm not going to really say anything about it to because I don't want to ruin the experience. Other than it is a weird movie, and I'm obviously having a weird movie moment with my Saltburn and Poor Things run. So I was like, let's revisit this. I've only seen it once. I remembered loving it. And so obviously that's why I picked it for January for our birthday month. So I'm hoping you have a good experience as well.
Yes.
Yay.
All right, everybody. Remember that our birthday party is coming up on Discord on the 28th. So look out for posts about that. Super easy. Show up however you are because there's no video. It's just all on Discord. Come and go as you please. But we will release more about that. And then also remember to utilize that discount code for Magic Mind if you want to try that out, which we highly recommend you do. And if you like us, follow us on Instagram at twochicksandahorrorflick or search for us on your favorite social media platform and follow us there. What else, Tawny?
You can support the show by giving us a like, review, and subscribe on whatever podcatcher you're listening to us on. That's it. So see you next time. And we hope you have such a good night. No nightmares.